So I wanted to talk about something kind of in depth. It relates to some of what we're doing last week. And that is, it's such a simple thing that it's sometimes very hard to grasp. We are involved in giving you all a certain kind of training. And training is different than learning. Learning, you grasp concepts, you grasp ideas, you try to understand those ideas, you try to make them work. Training is different. Training is, I've got some things I want to say. Training is you can or you can't. Okay, like this. You can, if you train to be a dancer, when the time comes to dance, you either give a good performance or you don't. Or you give a performance or you don't. Same with a musician. If you are, Aaron's coming in, so if you are a fighter, you either win or you don't. If you are a stock trader, you either make money or you lose it. If you have a relationship, it either is good or it isn't. And even what we were looking at last week, which is happiness, you either are happy or you aren't. There's this whole world of theories and ideas from Aristotle to Schopenhauer that you can read, and these are ideas about how things should and can be. And they think, and you can think and think and think, and like I like to say, and then you're dead. Or you can learn to do things, which is a completely different thing. Learning to do things does not require the same quality. A certain amount of intellectual ability is good, but much more it relies on will, persistence, practice, guts, actually doing something. As a teacher, for example, and all the teachers in my lineage, it is much more important to me not what you say, but whether you are here. It's much more important to me not what you think or how nice you are, but whether you can inconvenience yourself. It is also important to me whether people like you or don't, not what you think about it. Training is about what is. Now, training is very benevolent in the sense that what is, if it isn't yet, you keep practicing and then it is. I mean, it's not a complete yes or no thing, but it's all about, can you do this? So, for me, I can, and I like to, with you, I can embrace everything. For you to learn to train, to trade stocks and make money on the stock market would not require anything very different than for you to learn to paint. You might think it would, but it really won't. Especially if you're painting within a tradition, like Sumier, where there is a certain way to do it. Conceptual painting is sometimes anybody's understanding, and people will disagree. But, so training is training, and what it offers you is this entire world of yourself that you can engage. And if you have been, as most of us have been, putzing around with your mind and ideas and knowing and thinking that one day just the right thought will be in your head and everything will be okay, that you will finally understand, first of all, it's not true, and second, there is this whole other way that you could live, and that is by practicing. Now, we understand this in training. We understand this very intuitively. All your answers last week about happiness related to it in a certain way. But it's very popular in the movies, right? You watch somebody who becomes a great writer, sitting for hours alone in the room, or someone who becomes a great boxer, running on the streets of Philadelphia, or you watch someone who becomes a great anything, or the native there, a martial artist, you watch them practicing with a stick alone for hours. You watch a great chess player, you watch a great musician, you watch a great anything. And we love this. This is the stuff that movies are made of often. We admire people who achieve excellence in their training. We all know about this somehow, but when it comes to life, we don't necessarily do it that way. Now, most of you err in your training, if you do, on the side of wisdom. You're too wussy. There are things that you think are hard for you to do that are not so hard to do. And if they're hard, it's not so bad that they're hard. I always tell you it's important that you inconvenience yourself. Nobody ever became, and yet you can watch somebody on in a movie, you know, in a dance studio, dancing for hours by themselves, really inconveniencing themselves. Or you watch somebody on TV, you watch, what's her name, who keeps, Bruce Willis's ex, Demi Moore. Demi Moore decides to become a Navy SEAL in one of her movies. You watch that, you think it's very stupid, but it's a symbol of something that we can understand. Effort, right? Effort. So training is not about so much understanding. It's not about Schopenhauer. It's not. Now, science is in the same vein, because science is provable. You either can do it or you can't. Right? If Pythagoras figures out how you can predict the size of a triangle, or in calculus somebody figures out how you figure out the motion of a thing, it either the formula works or it doesn't. So that's more, in a way, like training. Scientists train. So this is what I'm saying. It's this whole area of understanding about will and training. It also is exactly what you need to train in to be happy. Because all of that stuff happens in the moment, not in figuring things out.